Hello, thank you for joining us for the Learn Community Education session on Purpose-Built Golden Years. My name is Dara Ray, and I am the president of Learn and the founder of My Data Diary. Please keep in mind that this content is provided for general information purposes only and is not to be considered legal, financial, or health advice. Please consult with your legal, financial, healthcare, or other service providers before taking action based on this information. I am pleased to share with you that I am joined today by two presenters, Asia Miller, the Foster Grandparent Volunteer Coordinator, and Lisa Underwood, the Legacy Corps Volunteer Coordinator at Aging Strong Programs by JANNUS. Asia graduated from Boise State University with a bachelor's in health science while participating in Boise State's speech and debate team. She is a lover of community, advocacy, volunteering, kids, animals, and art. Lisa graduated from Portland State University with a bachelor's in sociology. She has raised three amazing young men with her husband of 30 years by her side. Her passion is exploring the outdoors, usually in her hiking boots. Thank you so much for joining us today, Asia and Lisa. We're really looking forward to your presentation.
Hello, this is Lisa and Asia here, and we are the volunteer and outreach coordinators for the Aging Strong programs. We are so stoked to be here today with you. Aging Strong consists of 3 volunteer-powered programs. We have the privilege of leading about 70 volunteers, and all of our volunteers are on the average of 72 years old. We have a really great challenge for you today. And if you're tuning into this webinar, we're pretty certain you might be ready for this challenge. So it's going to come in the form of a question. So all of us can ask that question right now. Here you go. You ready for it? In 1957, Martin Luther King asked his audience in Alabama this question. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Say that again. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Martin Luther King Jr. Just pause for a moment and mull that over in your mind and answer that question. I'd even encourage you to grab a notepad and maybe write your answer down on that notepad.
Well, I hope you got a good answer for what you do for others, but even if you had no idea of what to write down, that's what me and Lisa are here to help with. So today our goal is to share with you why volunteering in your golden years is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. So you can make giving back your second act. And it's never too late to find your community, find your purpose, and live your life to the absolute fullest. There are so many programs just filled with people in need and waiting for your talent and your lifetime of skills. But if you're thinking, I'm already doing this, Asia and Lisa, this webinar is not for me. You're preaching to the choir, sis. Well, then we challenge you to still tune in and share this information with someone in your circle of influence who might need some encouragement. Share this inspiration with them, your neighbor, your mom, your brother, your cousin, whoever it might be. And lastly, you might be thinking, okay, Asia and Lisa, I don't see many gray hairs on you who are gals to give me some ideas for the golden years of my life. Well, you know where we get our ideas? From our golden aged volunteers. We're students of the senior citizen volunteers that we help lead, and we see daily how they impact the people they serve and how this service changes them. It's pretty amazing, and we've got lots of stories to share with you. So sit back, sip your coffee, and let's take a ride together. But first, where do you even start when it comes to volunteering?
We really feel it starts with our passions. You heard us use the phrase in the beginning, make giving back your second act. Are you nearing retirement, or maybe you've been enjoying retirement for a number of years, and we sure hope you're enjoying parts and pieces of it at least. You may be in this place where you're ready to give back, find your community, but maybe you're just looking at us and you're like, I just don't even know where to start. Maybe fear holds us back a little bit. Sometimes we're not even sure if we really have something to offer. It can also be a little bit overwhelming. Maybe it feels like a minefield sometimes as we attempt to look for the right place to serve that fits us and also fits our passions. And maybe we're not even sure exactly what our passions are anymore. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about discovering our passions. Our passions will lead us to our purpose. You can see the quote here. If you can't figure out your purpose, figure out your passion, for your passion will lead you right into your purpose. Bishop T.D. Jakes. So really, we feel that step one is discovering your passions. A great place to start this discovery, the discovery of your passions, is by asking yourself 6 questions, and I'll run through them one by one. They're created by Teresa Morell, a LinkedIn expert, and she shares these with us. I would even just suggest pausing your recording after each question, getting out a notepad and pen, and writing out the answer to each question. I feel like, if you take time to really dig into this, you're going to be grateful. So I encourage you, take moments after each question and pause us and then come back to us. So let's kick it off with the first question. What has been a common theme in your life? What is something that people would say about you in each job that you've ever held? Go ahead and pause and write that down. Second question, what skills come to you naturally? Get creative. This is just a brainstorming activity. What skills come to you naturally? Third question, what types of things do friends, colleagues, and family usually seek your input for? What types of things do friends, colleagues, and family seek your input for? Fourth question, what would you do for nothing? If you didn't have to worry about money, what would you be doing? And again, just remember, this is hypothetical. Dream a little bit here. What would you do for nothing if you didn't have to worry about money? Fifth question, what is something that when immersed in it, you totally lose track of time? And I'm not referring to binge watching episodes of Yellowstone here, okay? What is something that when totally immersed in it, you lose track of time? And number 6, and honestly, this is my favorite one. What gets your blood boiling? What is a problem in the world that you would love to fix? Think about that. You hear about this issue on the news and it just boils your blood. What gets your blood boiling? Take some time, write that down. Well, hopefully you have a little bit on that notepad now, and you've got some things to think about on your areas of passion. And our hope is that these questions are helping you identify what your current passions are. I've heard one person say, you'll know it when you feel it. Passions are just felt really deeply in our heart. Finding your passion doesn't happen in a day. It takes a little bit of time. So don't give up on the process. If by the end of this time that we have with you, you're saying to yourself, I still don't know what I'm passionate about, well, just let this information sit with you. And if it helps in a day or two, come back to the recording, listen to it again, and I bet you'll find some discoveries. You may even have multiple passions. A number of us have multiple passions, so that's kind of exciting. And also, just take note that passions, they change over the years. For some people, they have a single passion and it motivates their entire life. It's who they are, and they would never give it up. For others, passions change as we change. The world changes, our experiences change. So what do we do now? We've hopefully identified some passions of ours. How do we go from here? Well, we act on them. That's what we do. How many of you have heard the quote, "You can't steer a parked car"? I've heard that a lot. I think I might have tried to steer my parents' car when I was about 4, and I'm super happy it didn't go anywhere anytime soon. Thank goodness it was, it was parked. But basically, we all know you can't steer a parked car. When we act on our passions, they become our mission, our purpose. Purpose involves doing something about our passion, not just thinking about them. I can feel passionate about the homeless, but until I call a local shelter and ask them, how can I start helping at your shelter? Let me get there this week. Really, there's no purpose to my passions. Purpose is something tangible. It's what I physically do with my passion. Purpose is a reason I get meaning out of my life. Let's ask ourselves a question. At the end of the day, do I lay my head on my pillow and I feel like my day had purpose? Was there meaning behind what I spent my hours doing? Take a moment, ask yourself that question. Well, I just want to commend you because you're taking some time with us today to identify those passions. And now I feel it from you. Even in this recording, you're feeling courageous. You're going to start putting those passions into purpose, putting them to action. And guess what? We have some ideas to share with you along those lines, what you can do today, some directions you can take to turn your passions into purpose.
Thanks, Lisa. Okay, so we have an idea of what our passions could be. And once you've made that decision to reach out for your purpose and your passion, it can be really difficult to find a program or a place that aligns with you as well as your passion. But don't be discouraged because there are seriously so many places to serve. You can find places near you right here in the Treasure Valley. And if you're out there in the masses of Idaho as a whole, there are even more programs to choose from. Just look at this list. And this is only a few of the options that I could have listed. New volunteer positions are popping up every single day. So even if you try one today and decide, that one's not for me, you can try out a new one tomorrow. And your community is out there waiting for you. All there's left to do is call, email, reach out, find the place that speaks to you and make it happen. Every volunteer organization wants people like you with a passion to join their mission and the wonderful purpose-filled work that they do. The possibilities are actually endless. So next, let's narrow down the scope a little bit so we can discover where to find these opportunities that you might not have known even existed. So you may be thinking, wow, there are so many options to choose from. Where do you even go to find these opportunities to serve? Well, there are plenty of sites to check out where you can specify what your passion is and find exactly what you're looking for. And if all else fails, the internet is not your strong suit, give some places a call. It doesn't hurt to just call some brick and mortar spots and get some information. But hopefully, if you found this video, you're no stranger to a good old Google search. And these are just some of the top places that you can Google to find the right place for you to start volunteering today. So check out any of these sites in your free time, and you can start looking for your community today. There are so many benefits to volunteering. I'll pause here in case anybody wants to write any of these down or if they want to start Googling now. These are all really great sites to check out. And volunteering really is just one piece of living a healthy lifestyle. Because doesn't it just feel good to give back to your community? Live your life to the fullest and reap all the benefits that volunteering has to offer? It really opens up a whole new world for you. And like the domino effect, other opportunities and resources and friendships will just come bursting through your door. You can start living a healthier life today and let that propel you to live a healthier life tomorrow. And I mean, just look at all of these benefits of volunteering. Look at this list. Feeling better both in the mind and the body. And all of these healing effects of volunteering are greater than even income, education, and marriage. How crazy is that? Just by giving back, you are giving yourself the chance at a happier, healthier, and longer life. Just pretty worth it if you ask me. But again, don't just take it from me and Lisa. Like we said at the start, we have so many stories of real people making this change in their lives to start serving through the programs that we lead. And we're ready to tell you about them. So these are the 3 Aging Strong programs that we represent. And we'll get into a bit about each of them, but really we just want to share with you the impact that these programs have made on the volunteers that power them. So first and foremost, we have the Foster Grandparent Program. This program gets to bring 2 underserved communities together to bring multi-generational learning into local elementary classrooms. We help seniors who are often forgotten and helps kids to succeed in school. Our program offers limited income seniors a non-taxable monthly stipend income that helps them make ends meet financially. And I really love this quote by one of our foster grandparents. They said, "Going to school each day has given me renewed purpose, and the children have given me back my life. I may have started for the money, but I stayed because of the kids." And I think that this is echoed throughout all of the volunteers in the foster grandparent program. As they struggle financially and find this program, it really does change their lives. So,
Asia, can I ask you a question on that?
yeah.
Your quote here, can you help people understand how volunteering pays you? Because most people don't equate volunteering with starting for being paid.
Yeah, absolutely. So this program, it was built to help limited income seniors as well as children struggling in school. So you have to apply and make the income requirement. So we've got an income cap, it's 200% above poverty level. But if you make that cap, if you make that cut on our financial, then our government grant gets to pay you just a little bit. And it's nothing to write home about. It really just helps offset a lot of the costs of volunteering. But for our limited income seniors, they make around average $300 to $400 a month. So it can make a big difference in the month to month basis, whether or not you're getting nicer groceries or better gas or what have you. But yeah, it's really just that government grant piece through AmeriCorps Senior that allows us to have that stipend for our senior volunteers.
Thanks for that clarification.
Of course, yeah, thanks for the question. So, what I'd really like to share with you guys about this program are the real life impacts that it's made on the adults that power it. The volunteers I work with inspire me every single day, and I hope these stories can inspire all of you watching today as well. So the first story I have is a story about Sue. Sue lost her husband after many years of happy marriage, and she'd spent her days raising kids and just being super involved with her grandkids' lives. After her husband's death, she was really lost with what to do with herself and her time. And she knew if she didn't get out of her community and do something, she'd be lost to depression and left in financial ruin. She had always loved working with kids. So one day she decided to walk into her local elementary school and start helping out in the classrooms that needed it. And she loved being there. However, financially, she was still struggling to take care of herself and her still young family with grandkids. She couldn't get a part-time job because she knew her Social Security benefits wouldn't keep, and she wasn't going to be able to do all of the heavy lifting that a lot of entry-level jobs required. After about a year of volunteering at the school, she was given a flyer about the foster grandparent program, a program that helps limited income seniors financially by offering a monthly non-taxable stipend for the hours that they volunteer in local elementary classrooms. Now, this was the perfect fit for Sue. She realized that she could continue to work for the school and get paid a non-taxable stipend income every month to help her with her financial struggles. This was a program that aligned with Sue's passion of motivating and inspiring future generations. Now that she's a part of the foster grandparent program, she's made a life of friendships, gotten out of her depression, and she's living her life to the absolute fullest. I hope you know somebody like Sue. But next, I'd like to tell you about Judy. Judy was born on a farm of 11 siblings in the 50s when life was pretty different. To this day, she lives in the farm life, and she really couldn't imagine life without the hustle and bustle of the hard work. She raised a family of her own and helped raise her grandkids as well. And once her grandkids were all grown up, she was missing that part of her busy lifestyle. So she started working in the schools as a paraprofessional. And after years of loving that profession, she was sadly let go from her job as budget cuts made large waves across all the districts in her area. Anybody else know somebody like that who's lost their job and struggling to find that reconnection? Well, Judy was forced to downsize. She floated for a while, doing a bit of subbing here and there at the schools and the lunchrooms. And at the time, she was really lost with what to do. She had a friend who was a classroom volunteer for the foster grandparent program, and not knowing what to expect, she decided to give it a try. Now, she rarely misses a day in the classroom. Her passion of having that busy lifestyle, hanging out with kids, really just aligned perfect with the foster grandparent program. Here's a quote from Judy that I really love. She says, "My kids are like a flower garden to me. You go in, you see them as rough ground. You get busy and till this ground. You water it, weed it, train some wild vines. But at the end of the time spent, you have this wonderful, weed-free, blooming flower garden that you helped harvest." It's really beautiful. But it's not just the foster grandparents that this program benefits. It's also the schools and the kids, as this is totally free for the schools to have these volunteers come in. So I'd love to tell you about the kids that our foster grandparent volunteers have helped to cultivate a love for learning. The first story is about Pat. Pat spends almost every day in the classroom with her second graders. And at the start of the year, it was really difficult to get any kids to sit down and pay attention when it came to reading time. They were all still so starved of that social connection from years of online learning that getting them to settle seemed nearly impossible. So Pat started to lay down some ground rules. At the start of each year, she said, "Everyone plays the quiet game during reading time except the reader and me. And if you want to answer a question, you must raise your hand so everyone gets a chance to hear what someone has to share." All of the kids really loved getting to share their thoughts at the end of the stories. And as the year went on, through the holidays and the breaks, Pat sat with her classroom during reading time and realized that for the first time, the teacher was able to sit quietly at his desk and take notes. Pat sat with her classroom during reading time and realized that for the first time, the teacher was actually able to sit quietly while the class was reading and engaged for story time. A real win for everyone. So do you see how just one person can make a huge impact on even something like an entire classroom of kids? Not just one, but the whole class. But let me tell you about just one student, because another foster grandparent couple who worked in the same class together as a team worked with a young refugee of Ukraine. And when they first met this young girl, she had little to no English. language. So there was a large barrier in their communication. The foster grandpa helped her learn English numbers, and the foster grandma helped her learn her English letters. They said that it takes a lot of bravery to go to a new country and a new school as a first grader. And in spite of everything setting this girl back, she moved forward with a happy determination. Her classroom grandparents noted that she was equal in speed and knowledge as the more advanced students, but that it was difficult to show one's intelligence when learning a new language. So to everyone around, she looked like a beginner. This student worked hard with her foster grandparents each day, and although her progress was slower than her peers, each small step made a huge success in her classroom grandparents that saw just how hard she was working each day. And they felt the impact of their presence for her in the classroom as they cheered her on and gave her encouragement and courage to face each day. So do you see how the impact of believing in just one student makes a world of difference in their lives? When we align our passions with our purpose, it really makes a huge difference, not only in our lives, but in every single one of the lives that we get to touch. So if your passion is educating and encouraging young minds, I hope you think of foster grandparents and you reach out. But we've got other great programs to introduce you to as well.
Asia, thank you. Every time I look at those pictures of just all those huge smiles of the foster grandparents and the kids that are hugging them, it just reminds me, going back earlier, what we were talking about, the benefits of volunteering. There's just so much that happens when you give back. So thank you for those pictures, for their stories. And so we're going to kind of dive into another really great program out there, another volunteer program that I have the privilege of running called Legacy Core. And as I talk about this, I hope you'll kind of think about somebody in your life that might benefit from this program, or maybe somebody might be interested in joining our mission too. So Legacy Core, it's a volunteer-powered program, as I mentioned, and the program volunteers, they're each matched with elderly military families, as you can see in this picture with this handsome man saluting. So all the folks we serve are military connected, and we provide companionship to those elderly military families that are often quite isolated. They're often not driving and stuck at home a lot. So I'm sure, any of you know elderly folks who might be feeling a bit isolated? Maybe too much time on their own, sitting in their favorite chair in the family room a lot and not leaving the house very much. Do you know anybody like that? Well, these weekly volunteer visits provide an opportunity to provide friendship to that person. And they also give a family member a little bit of a break. So it's that loved one who is the ongoing family caregiver, the one that's providing 24/7 care to their loved one. That's who we call the family caregiver. And when our volunteer comes, they get a little break too. So I'm going to ask you a question. Have you been a family caregiver to a loved one? Have you been that? Have you carried that role? It's pretty huge. And do you have a neighbor or a friend who you also observe right now who isn't able to leave their loved one alone anymore, and that neighbor or friend just could desperately use a break? Legacy Core is that program. We can provide support to the folks that are coming to your mind right now. We receive calls every day from families asking for a volunteer. So we're always looking for passion-filled people to grow our volunteer team. Are you ready for some cool stories about lives being changed? And before I move on though, real quick, I'm going to do that quote there. You probably have read it. You're looking at it. In my mind, there's no better way to thank a veteran and their family than being a trusted companion when they need it most. Legacy Core gives me that opportunity. So many of us here, thank you for your service to the veterans out there. And our program is just a really direct way to put that statement into action, saying thank you for your service. We actually do something about it, which is pretty cool. So let's talk about some real impacts with real people with our program, Legacy Core. I hope you're totally touched and inspired by these stories as I am every day. I'm going to introduce you to a couple of our terrific volunteer and family matches. We'll start with volunteer Bob and the couple that he serves, Judy and Jim. Bob is the one with the sailboat and the Jeep and the river behind them. So that's Bob and Jim. Bob's our volunteer, Jim is who he serves. When I first walked into Judy and Jim's home for the first time, the exhaustion and sadness was just so evident on their face. They are absolutely beautiful people and their beauty shines, but they still looked absolutely spent. Jim had been battling Parkinson's for years, and Judy had been his faithful caregiver for years. He was grieving the loss of so much, the loss of driving, the loss of his fine motor skills, his ability to do craftsmanship and hobbies that he used to love. He was a bike rider. He was grieving the loss of so much. Judy was in her own grief journey too. She was slowly losing pieces of their marriage to the awful disease of Parkinson's. So to say they were elated when I said I had a volunteer for them would be a total understatement. They absolutely felt hope for the first time in a really, really long time. Jim and our volunteer Bob, they connected right away. They were both Vietnam War veterans, and they understood the battles of Vietnam and how those battles had just ravaged the lives of so many they knew. They understand that. But on Wednesdays, when Bob shows up to pick Jim up, the only battle they have that day is what route to take to their next adventure. Bob and Jim, they built this intricate homemade wooden boat together. You can see in this picture, it's absolutely beautiful. And that never would have happened without the support of Bob. Meanwhile, Judy is having some much needed time shopping with girlfriends or visiting a book shop by herself and just sitting in a quiet corner. And she's able to take her caregiving hat off for just a few hours each week, but it gets her through the week. So who out there has floated the Boise River in the last year or two? Well, Bob and Jim floated the Boise River together. They had a blast on a warm summer day. They loaded up into the raft with, they did it slowly and carefully, but they got to float the Boise River. It was amazing. And they go out, they explore various military museums. They have become true comrades. And I can truly say, exhaustion and sadness, it no longer permeates Jim and Judy's everyday. Hope has been resurrected once again. Can you see the impact of someone like Bob saying yes to his passions and letting those passions lead him to purpose? Can you see that impact? Another one of my favorite volunteers and families, volunteer Rita and her Legacy Corps family, Kay and Harlan. They're on the corner right there, and Harlan is also the gentleman and the very tall man in the middle with his amazing, ginormous smile by the flag there. Well, Kay called us back during COVID with concern for her World War II husband. It was when COVID had us all on serious lockdown. I'm sure we all remember that time, right? They weren't just physically locked down, their hearts felt locked down. Did you feel a little bit of that during COVID? I sure did. Kay and Harlan, they found themselves just having way too much time on their hands, especially Harlan, who has some cognitive struggles and he doesn't drive anymore, so he can't just get up and go. Kay drives a little bit, so she keeps in small amount of touch with some friends. So she was getting some social interaction, but not Harlan. And Harlan, he thrives on social time. He's a storyteller. He loves telling stories, especially stories of his military days. But boy, during those dark days of COVID, there was no opportunity for storytelling. He was spending hours and hours watching reruns of MASH on TV. You might like MASH, but hours and hours of it could get a little bit old. So here comes our long volunteer, Rita. Rita, she was recently retired. She was looking at the last decades of her life and she's thinking, I want to engage in something new, just a really purpose-filled mission that I haven't experienced yet. So she was digging around and she found Legacy Corps, and we are so glad she found Legacy Corps. Rita is absolutely adored by Kay and Harlan, as you can see in that picture there with their beautiful smiles. She takes Harlan out once a week. Sometimes they go to the Warhawk Museum and they do the monthly coffee gathering for veterans where there's like 300 veterans. So Harlan can sit around, he BS's with the other veterans, telling military stories. And meanwhile, Kay is out walking the greenbelt with a girlfriend. Beautiful. The isolation that Harlan was feeling prior to Rita entering his life, it has diminished greatly. He's made new friends. You know, there was something else too before he met Rita. He was not feeling real purposeful. He used to get out and do volunteering with Kay, and they were, you know, they both had hearts of service. Well, obviously he spent his life in the military, but now he was stuck at home. He couldn't get out. He couldn't volunteer. So Rita got creative and she started arranging food bank visits where they go each week as volunteers. Harlan and Rita, they organize food boxes while they shoot the bull with other volunteers. It's pretty incredible. So Harlan, he's socializing, he's contributing to society. He ends his weekly visits with Rita feeling fulfilled, as no doubt Rita is feeling as well. Can you see the impact of someone like Rita saying yes to her passions and letting those passions lead her to purpose? Well, we're going to go on to our third program, and hopefully, again, you can kind of resonate with this program and think about somebody in your life that it might appeal to, or maybe you. It's called the Powerful Tools for Caregivers Workshop, and it's 6 weeks long. It teaches family caregivers. We were talking a little bit about family caregivers in the Legacy Core piece. We teach them how to take care of themselves, like while caring for a loved one. So it's really focused on the family caregiver. And these workshops are mostly taught by older adult volunteers as well. As you can see in that quote, the PTC class gave me confidence to make the tough decisions I had been avoiding. Just knowing I'm not alone is everything. Family caregivers can feel very alone. So I'm going to break down the Powerful Tools for Caregivers workshop just a little bit, tell you what a leader does in this workshop. They are, basically, in a nutshell, PTC leaders instruct 2 workshops per year. They do it either online or in person, and the curriculum is totally provided for you. So it's pretty easy. I'm going to run through some little passion skills that maybe you have, maybe somebody else has that you know. If you have a group facilitation skills at any time in your background, or if you have experience working with family caregivers in any level, maybe you've been one. Or if you have a desire to teach, instruct, and guide individuals who are thirsty to learn. Maybe you just have a passion to encourage folks that are struggling. If you have any of those skills, you would make a great instructor. AgingStrong.org will give you all the info you need to check out this opportunity. Charlie, one of our Powerful Tools for Caregiver Leaders, PTC is what we call it. She says, caregivers often say the class has assisted them to look at the one they care for in a different light. New ways of communicating have strengthened their relationship, and spouses become closer, families reconnect with more compassion. Quote by Charlie. Another one of our leaders, Patty, says, many caregivers tend to take this journey all alone. The PTC classes provide them with the tools, resources, and the confidence to reach out. In teaching this class, I am now part of their journey, and they are not alone. Pretty powerful quote by Patty.
Well, really, we hope that those stories inspired you. And I know they always inspire me, and it's always hard to see the impact that we have in our volunteer service. So having those stories can be really powerful, because then we know that there is an impact. But really, if you guys walk away with anything today, I hope, and I know Lisa hopes as well, that it's the assurance that you can make giving back your second act, that it's never too late to find your community, find your purpose, and live your life to the absolute fullest. You can always make a difference in your community, and there are so many programs that are just waiting for your talents and your lifetime of skills. So we hope today, if you took some time to identify your passions and you took some time to identify what your purpose might just be, this is a really exciting journey that you've chosen to embark on, and you've chosen to get out there and live your best life. You've chosen to serve your community and make giving back your second act. So thank you for taking this time today.
If you're interested in any of the 3 aging programs we got to share with you today, the Foster Grandparents, Legacy Core, Powerful Tools, if you're inspired to reach out to us, here's Asia and I's contact information. So please write down our number and our email and get in touch with us. More than anything, just be assured there is a place for you in your community. Don't give up. Don't let your passion fuel your purpose and make this world a better place. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this presentation. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Asia and Lisa, for a wonderful presentation on the benefits of volunteerism to power your purpose in retirement. I've known quite a few people who have failed retirement because they didn't plan for what future might look like, and reminding people that finding that purpose can come in many ways, and volunteering is a wonderful way to find your purpose in your golden years and in your retirement. We thank you for sharing your information about your programs, and about the importance of volunteering. For those of you who have watched and joined us today, we invite you to join the Learn mailing list. By joining the mailing list, you'll get a once-a-month email about new videos, new education opportunities, and new activities sponsored by Learn in the Treasure Valley of Idaho. 1 email a month, we promise we won't spam you. And a reminder, we have more than 100 topics in our video library in the areas of health, wealth, lifestyle, caregiving, technology, and community resources. And we hope you will look to those resources to help you navigate the joys and challenges of aging and caregiving. That is the mission of Learn, a 100% volunteer organization headquartered in the Treasure Valley of Idaho. Our vision is to serve as a trusted source of information and resources provided for the community by the community. And we provide free education for mature adults, family caregivers, and the professionals serving them. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope to see you again.